Welcome in, Husker Extra 2-minute drill. It's Wednesday. I'm Parker. There's Sipple. I think we got the regular view today, Sipple. I mixed it up on Monday. Had the speaker view here on Zoom, so maybe the people will see both of us today. I'm not sure. Heard from both coordinators and some players that we haven't heard from much or at all in their Nebraska careers today. Some young guys in the program, at least. Miles Farmer and Quentin Newsome, and then Oliver Martin on the receiver side, and Wyatt Lever. So another busy day over at Memorial Stadium. Both of the coordinators, I guess it was mostly simple. I don't know that there's anything really remarkable that came of it. It was mostly just sort of a status update. You know, they're halfway through spring. Today was practice number 8 out of 15, so they're into the second half of spring ball now. I thought Eric Chenander made an interesting comment. It's not surprising. He said, he's like, we have the right guys on the bus. Now we just have to sort of figure out what seat they sit in, and he was basically saying they've got a lot of experience back on that defense, and they got to figure out who needs to be in what role and how to maximize the depth and talent they have. A little bit different offensively. Matt Lubick is, I think, encouraged by where the offense is at this point, but he said, it's a lot of competition and a lot of just basics. And he's like, we're not trying to put a lot of scheme in or anything like that this spring. He said we want to be better at blocking and tackling and catching the ball, and that's really sort of what this is about. So they're at different points, but both, I suppose, not surprisingly, liked where their sides of the ball are at, generally speaking.
Yeah, the cornerback battle and the defensive back competition in general, I think it's pretty intense. Quentin Newsome's obviously a sophomore corner at that position opposite Cam Taylor-Britt. That's I'd say heated competition. He characterizes it as that. It's really competitive with Braxton Clark, Taman Lynham. The spot like I said, spot opposite Cam Taylor-Britt.
Yeah, Nadab Joseph.
Nadab Joseph. Yeah, and even Miles Farmer is not. I mean, he wants to start. I mean, he's trying to give those two veterans, Dismuke and Deontay Williams, all he can, and he ends up being out there with. It's not always Williams and Dismuke. I mean, you'll see Williams, Williams and Miles Farmer. So Miles Farmer came back. He's come back pretty well from he had a bad foot injury that I don't know if people remember that occurred against Purdue. He's not all the way back. He's practicing on defense. They're kind of keeping him out of special teams.
Yeah.
But he characterized it as a freak accident. Foot got caught on the turf as he went up to cover a fade pass in warm-up. So it was kind of a tough injury. Well, I would say a real tough injury.
Yeah. And it's one of those two where it's like, it's not the first guy to get hurt on that turf, which we don't need to go into that right now.
No, but hit with a lawsuit.
I remember correctly, Jim Harbaugh didn't have very nice things to say about Ross Aid.
Really?
Yeah, wasn't it a Michigan player that got hurt there, and he was talking about how they don't even have an X-ray capability? Wasn't that at Purdue? I think it was. Anyways, that's neither here nor there today, at least. Interestingly, so Basilus and Oliver Martin, the wide receiver, talk, and he's a guy, he's a 4-star prospect out of high school. Some people know his story. Transferred from Iowa, didn't get eligible till the middle of last year, caught 5 passes, started, I think, the last 4 games for Nebraska. He's a guy who talked a little bit. Some of the guys have been a little bit reluctant to talk about the performance testing, but Oliver Martin said he ran 4.5 in the 40-yard dash, and that it was laser start, laser finish, which is the slowest. He said at the NFL Combine, it's hand start, laser finish. So anyways, he was happy with that. Scott Frost had said a couple weeks ago he had a 40-inch vertical, best on the team. And Wyatt Lever was complimentary. He said, we do one-on-ones this spring, and he's like, I don't think Oliver Martin's lost one. So just a guy to watch, I guess, in the receiver room, a guy who was starting last year, so somewhat of a known commodity. But one of the things that Matt Lubick talked quite a bit about, and one of the things that, as Matt was asked questions, one of the things that he went back to in terms of explaining progress was he has so many guys, and I wrote about this over the weekend, that were first-year players last year that are second players now. And so that doesn't guarantee that there's going to be a bunch of all-conference receivers out there, but the familiarity is certainly at a different level, I think, this spring. And Lubick said a lot of guys were thinking a lot last year, and then a lot of guys are playing this spring. And for a guy that's got the athletic talent that Oliver Martin has, along with other guys, Omar Manning, Xavier Betts, those guys, I mean, that can make a big difference.
Yeah, remember, I mean, Frost has said since January that he feels like they have more talent and depth in that room than he's had since he's been here. People don't want to hear that, but that's what he says. I mean,
Yeah.
We'll see it. We'll see.
We'll see. And we'll keep telling you what the folks over there say. We will be actually, it won't be much said on Saturday, but we'll be over at Memorial Stadium watching an open practice. So that'll be more of a sights and sounds type of deal. That'll be interesting. In the meantime, we'll have a ton of new content at huskerextra.com. For Sipple, I'm Parker. Thanks for watching.